since this morning and I am very tired. It was a. I'm glad this is a bottle and not a glass. Oh my gosh, that scared me. So, we're going to continue on with what I did earlier, which is for Virgo, Taurus, Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. I'm going to pull you a Wild Unknown Alchemy card. And then we're going to get a rune. 2 runes, 1 alchemy. And we'll see what's up. And I have everything exactly where I left it. All right, Virgo, I'm going to say you start at 0111 because you are that girl, apparently. Lux Brumalis, Winter. I haven't seen Winter yet. Lux is light. Brumalis is of whatever broom is. I'm sure the book says. This is number 16, which is Tower Energy. Then we have Rasa, 73, to explore and alchemize. My lunar eclipse rune, and then Tear, smelt, number 17. These almost meet. And the colors are similar. The bottom of the deck is Hemfrog, by the way. I looked at it when I was putting the cards away earlier. The Bifrost, Journey Home. If you're curious. So, in the season of winter, winter has a silence to it that other seasons don't necessarily have. I don't know if it's because the insects are in hibernation and people are inside where it's warm. And so outside there's a stillness and there's a quiet that is hard to come by in other seasons. Is this a moose? Kinda. Maybe not. Feels like the head, the antlers, part of the body of the moose. I don't know what moose mean. They're old. They're hardy. They're a winter animal. Wintry. Excuse me. Lux Brumalis, Winter, Solace, the Pause and the Hermit. In alchemy, winter comes first. It is the. Oh, wait. Didn't I say that? For Capricorn? I was like, I feel like the year starts with Capricorn for some reason. Like Aries isn't the beginning. In alchemy, winter comes first. It is the beginning, the origin. As winter casts its blanket of stillness across the land, we naturally turn inward. The mind and heart settle into Earth's darkest season. From this place of quiet, a single flame reconnects us to the mystery of our existence and the miracle of the breath. Regardless of when this card appears, it indicates we are suspended in Mother Earth's pause. This is not the time for doing, going, or getting. The alchemist knows winter opens the portal to the divine. Magic is afoot under the surface. In the glimmering snow and sparkling ice, we see winter's water in crystalline form. each droplet a prism into the mystic realm. Don't get caught up in the gloom or isolation of this season. Rather, spin toward the sacred light. Spring will come in time. And I like that because the exploration, it has this vibe of like in the wintertime, it's usually a period of dormancy or it's like things slow down and shut down. Winter can also be an area that doesn't get a lot of sun, it's mostly dark, right? But it feels like there's something of importance in there. This tier card is like unfolding. Now there's like a person standing here. So there's a person standing here looking up towards the room. And then it feels like there's this dove energy sort of like coming in on the side. But anyway, it feels like there's something, some precious resource that exists in this wintry space. And it's for you to explore. And then I don't know if you're going to refine it by itself or if, yeah, children running. Run, children. I don't know if you smelled it by itself or if it is a part of something greater, right? Like, I don't know if it's the material itself that you would forge something out of or if you would make like an alloy with that and something else. Alive and eager, desiring to dive and drink in the new, all the old gold has dulled. Inventiveness slips in like a sea fret, curling its damp, vapory tendrils towards the land where you stand. The crawling, calling frequency of open waters, Ran's mystical nautical daughters craft the waves, the crashing adventures seeking to sail you forwards to explore life, to alchemize potential and soar to your sacred shore. This sail to your sacred shore. And what was the other one? It mentioned don't get caught up in the gloom or isolation of this season. Rather, spin toward the sacred light. And at one point in the game, you learn that dwarven magic, it calls on the nature of a thing rather than the form that it takes. What does that mean? It feels like this tree and this star are the same, or they're connected in some way. So it's an energy of personifications of things. It did mention Ran. She's not necessarily a personification. What is Brumalis? The light of. ALIS. I could look it up, but it's fine. I was hoping Kim would tell me, but she didn't. It feels like that stillness would help you to recognize the nature rather than just to be caught up in the form or the appearance because there isn't a lot of sunlight. in the winter. It's the time of the year where there's the least amount of sunlight, there's the most amount of darkness. And in the dark, you have to rely on other senses because the eye can deceive. So then, maybe with that smelting, it's getting to extracting whatever is natural from the form. It also feels like maybe you'll have a sense for, it feels like needles in haystacks, but it reads like diamonds in the rough. So I would say now it's looking almost like a butterfly rather than like a dove descending or even a vulture. Um, so I would say it's definitely time to, I mean, it's always a good idea to trust your intuition. I guess it's like if your intuition is leading you somewhere, but you don't immediately see why, give it time or observe. Pick on the nature, see deeper. And it feels like Virgo would be able to do that, but it also feels like there could be a challenge of like getting lost in details. And it's not necessarily about specific details, it's not about like isolated details. It's about getting the overall picture, right? And this is the lunar eclipse room. Honestly, I feel like I haven't struggled with Virgo. Sagittarius was also a struggle. That's why their reading is so long compared to like the first three. It also feels like you may be not necessarily in a place of proving. So, the same individual that is looking up at the tier room, it feels like there is like this person has been given a riddle that they're trying to solve. And so they bring whatever they think the answer is, and then they hold it up to this room to see if it responds that, like, yes, you got it correct. But I almost wonder if part of the riddle involves the form of the thing. It could also be a phase change because in winter, all of the liquid and gaseous water is solid. It's the snow on the ground. The air dries out. And so it could be like the right thing, the wrong form. Or maybe there's something that you have to do to almost isolate the right thing. Excuse me. I like that the lunar eclipse is here too. Or it's interesting that the lunar eclipse is here too, because that's when Earth's shadow, or Eve. Hey, Eve. Hey, Kirsty. Sorry, I'm like using my phone, so if I don't see the chats almost immediately, they fade. That's when Earth casts the shadow on the moon. So then the moon while reflecting sunlight to highlight or to highlight or illuminate. That's when Earth's shadow comes in. But it's almost like with the reflective surface of the moon, we get a broader perspective than where we are. Right. It's like if there's a camera or a mirror at a distance, you can look at the screen that the camera feed is shown on, or you can look at the mirror and get a greater view of not only like a greater view of the environment, but you also see yourself in it. So maybe it would help if you could see yourself as you move, play with perspective. Play with perspective. This, excuse me, down here. This makes me think of a temple gate. I think they're like Shinto shrines, I think, where they'll have the gates out front and you walk through the gate. Temple gate is a room that I don't remember. '73 is a 10, 16 is a 7, 17 is an 8. Excuse me. Well, Virgo, that's what I got. It's almost like it makes me think of like a show. Time stops, but then it's like one of those where time stops, but you're the only person that's like moving. And so like you're living your whole life. At first it's like super cool, but then you get kind of bored of it. Then it's like, what am I supposed to do? What's the purpose? What's the point? And then you discover someone else who moves and stopped time. Because now first like it was descending from this coming out of this blue space, but now it feels like it's coming out of the back of the person to come and meet them like face to face. Take it as it resonates, Virgo. Do with that what you will. This is obviously not. I'm like, what does this mean? What are you saying? So, excuse me. I mean, I guess if I'm trying to peer into a space of stopped time or stillness, it sounds like there are footsteps crunching on snow. But what does it mean? You let me know, Virgo. You figure it out. You let me know. Taurus, we're going to say you start at 1923. Taurus, you're the last earth sign. Coagulation, number 66. LXVI, yeah, number 66. Room number 66 came out. It was at the bottom left. What room is that? 12? I'm pretty sure it was 12. Because 11 was east, and then the other number was not 12. So, um, it almost makes Kairos mythic time. Who's this Taurus? You got Witchcraft? Witchcraft, Sorcery, Elder, 6511. 65, 66, 67. You don't get 67, you get 68. 65, 66, 68. Ooh. Taurus, 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 Taurus. If you watched that last video I did when I talked about, excuse me, when I talked about redistributing the light and the dark within self with the whole yin yang picture. Um, Ul is the one that, like, that culminates in Ul, where you can switch up. I just thought of how Capricorn had the message to like change the circumstances for some reason. I remembered that. I don't know if I said it or how well I communicated it, but I remember that it was like something isn't going to work in these circumstances, and that's fine. But for Capricorn, it was like change the circumstances. It makes me think of this one show where magic went away and then it came back, but it was different. And they were like, the circumstances are different. And so our spells are like, some of them are backfiring or they're weaker and they had to like ration magic because there was only a certain amount. But it was like there are external circumstances and then there are internal circumstances. And when the internal circumstance is right, you can do the magic anyway. Coagulatio, it's the space of things coming together. Ul would lead me to believe it's the dark and the light coming together to give you a greater sense or vision of self. And then with Witchcraft, it feels like things that you're able to naturally do because of the change in internal circumstances, if that makes sense. Ooh. Because you have to. Hey, Ollie, how you doing? Apart from the holding pattern. Maybe there's something that the holding pattern can give you. Oh, my tiny text phone. Oh my gosh. Well, I hope nobody was in the house when it went up. All right. Coagulatio. Coagulation. Number 66. Here's number 69. I need number 66. There we go. Oh, this is 46. I'm like, this ain't coagulatio. 63. 66. Coagulatio, coagulation. Solidity, adherence, and stuckness. Coagulatio is the great alchemical operation of earth. By way of this operation, we experience that which was fluid churning into a solid formation. The formerly disparate ingredients begin adhering together into a fixed and solid unit. The result is visible, reliable, and eventually concrete. When you hear the phrase, it is finally taking shape, coagulation underway. The shadow aspect of coagulatio is that the elements may have come together without much awareness, and in turn, they become unconsciously attached. Inertia and resentment set in. The parts can no longer separate, even if they wish to. Many long-term relationships have coagulatio aspects, a naturally occurring codependency by which both partners or both parties feel unseen or unknown as individuals. The work of coagulatio is to experience the merging with other while not losing oneself in the mush. And that's what, like, that whole shifting in the yin yang is about. It's so that you can enter like light spaces and light, it's so you can enter either space and not upset the balance of that space and throw everything into chaos, or not lose your sense of self while you're in those spaces. It keeps you intact. Now, intention is what Wickedcraft brings, because it's the intention that helps give energy form, or it creates the vessel or the channel for the energy to flow into. It's funny because this makes me think of Cancer's hardening skin outside of the show. This taking things finally taking shape in coagulatio. Excuse me. It's a powerful energy. This is also because of Wickedcraft. It's also Akamar, and the whole Akamar, Akranar, um, Eridanus, Phaeton, Apollo, Zeus. There's a brighter star. The river keeps running, basically. Excuse me. The river keeps running, but from our vantage point, it's like from our vantage point, we thought that we had reached the end, or that we thought we had seen the end. That when people traveled further south, they got to see everything that lied below the horizon from that vantage point, and they found the river runs even deeper, and there's a brighter star. But they had to venture further down, sort of, to discover it. Hello, Rob. Excuse me. I'm on my phone, so the little messages disappear like in 2 seconds. And also, like, I'm exhausted, but it's fine. I said I would do this. What's he up to? I'm right here. Wow. I got an alchemy, a lot of known alchemy in 2 rooms for Virgo, Taurus, Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. I did the other signs earlier. Right now I'm on Taurus. So Taurus, it feels like something is coming together regardless. Um, or like something is happening in your life regardless. I know, it's fine. It's up to you to decide if you, I guess it's up for you to decide how to use it to your advantage. It's almost like once combined, something can't be undone. And it's also like you are all one. I wonder what constellation you can make out of this. I see the stars in this. Maybe that's it, Taurus. You got 11, 66, 12, 13. or 14, sorry. 68 is a 14. So you like completely bypass a 13 frequency because you're already in 14. It's just like, how do you harness or channel that where you are? It's almost like it's so airy, it's so light, it's so high vibe that it's really like wispy and thin, like it would slip through your fingers like a cloud. How do you capture the clouds? And it's not capture in some like weird manipulative way. You know what I mean? That's why I like channeling more. I can't give you the answer to that, Taurus. That's what you're in the process of discovering as you come together. Together, together. I did Scorpio. Scorpio was at 28 minutes and 8 seconds of the last reading. Rob, I did Scorpio second. I just put up I just put the timestamps in that video because I forgot earlier. I went to sit down and then I was like, oh, I didn't put in any of these timestamps. The cloud jaw. So 32 10. Oof, no. 3210 would have been cute because it's like 321. Oh, or 321 go. No problem. We're gonna say 3225. I'll leave, yeah, 3230. We'll say 3230. Let's just go for 3232. Why not? You get 3232, Aries. And it's yeah. Oh. Pluton. Fane, 56. Did we just have 65? Taurus just got 65. Aries, you get 56. Fane. And 13. AO. Well, here's that 13 frequency. And then Pluto is number 10. So 10, 11, 13. You skip 12. You skip 12, which means that you skip the found order. Wait. Oh. I like Fane because it feels like the hand in Pluto is like wiping the cobwebs off of something. And you can see in the poem the movement, like this vane is moving. The weather vane is moving. What you're clearing off is this portal and the sacral. Somebody had something similar. I feel like it was Cancer for some reason. I don't know if it was. It was an energy of like getting it into the socket. It was the Fruma. The Fruma came out second, I think. Was it Scorpio? Well, no. No, I messed up all the cards. I get to cheat. No, it was Pisces. Was it Pisces? Because these were the first two. And then Pisces came out. Yeah, so it was Pisces. I got the wrong. I said every water sign except for the one that it was. So it feels like it's creating this channel, or it's clearing the way for the gold to fall in where it needs to go. And then when the gold settles in, it becomes this like beacon. It's easy to go for like a Kundalini energy. So, Aries, you might be in the space of having a Kundalini awakening or a Kundalini reawakening. There's also something about this that is making me think of like time travel question mark. Interdimensionality. It's making me think of interdimensionality and your ability to go like back and forth in some situation or in some circumstance that gets you like, it's almost every time I think about it, it makes me think of a video game, and I don't remember what the game is because my brother played it. Hey David, how you doing tonight? Because my brother played it and I didn't play it. um but it's like you're going through this area, and if you encounter a roadblock or obstacle in the present, you go back to the past, and in the past it's clear. Or it's like you go into the past and you move something so that when you go back to the present, it's where you need it to be. This could be like an internal external thing that you do. um like there are things that you do internally in your healing journey work. I almost said journal. In your healing journey work journal, sure. And it's like after you move enough of it internally, then you go into you go out into the world and you Aries something. You create or instigate or inspire a change externally from your changed internal space. And then the external proceeds until you need to revamp the internal. And then you go back to the external and move. I feel like this U portal, it holds a lot of mystery. I don't know what it is. There's something very mysterious about this. And it's not angular like the Ganunga Gap, it's rounded. Just like how 12th was more rounded than the Ofurlagu. It's also elliptical or ovular instead of circular. Oh, I was like, wait, what? No, not the time warp. My friend scared me. My best friend that I'm gonna see tomorrow, she used to go to Rocky Horror all the time. But she was like, oh, when it's your first time, then like you're like a Rocky Horror virgin or whatever, and they're gonna haze you. And then I was like, okay, well then I'm not interested in going. And she wouldn't let me go and pretend like I had been there before, so I never went. I'm like, yeah, no, I'm not doing that. It's fine. I did see it once at her apartment though. Dr. Frankenfurter. You're gonna be legendary, Aries. The legendaries. Legend Aries. Aries is like put a legend in front of my name. Who got legacy? Was that somebody? It was like, was that Cancer? Got original birthright, legacy, original birthright, and thy earthly power. Aethel and Earth Mason. Somebody got Aethel and Earth Mason. And I was like, oh snap. I don't know what this is, Aries. Um, but whatever this is, it's making me think of this dot right here and how that's almost like perfectly sized for the gold that you're clearing space for. So when the gold finds its way here, it lights this up and it becomes more Lafrumic. Because right now it's like it's a channel for the energy to flow through, but the Ace of Cups isn't in the center of the dais for the water to like overflow and then like fill and then some magical Mayan magic happens. I don't know. Past lives clinging and calling. Old visions seen anew, deep wonders awoken, lessons learnt. That's the end of the poem for Ao. Old visions seen anew, deep wonders awoken. Ancient witness of hidden sacred wisdom. So, Aries, you're dusting the cobwebs off of something that is beyond me, but I wish you the best. And that it's not my job to know, it's your job to find out. Leo, we're going to call you 4217. Leo, Leo, Leo. Ooh, you get Argentum Wewum, Quicksilver, Mercury. It's not Mercury, it's Quicksilver, which is Mercury. It's not the planet Mercury, it's elemental Mercury. Mercury is the only one, at least in the English language, that's both a planet and a metal or a material. Hmm. Licha, Leica, Licha, and Feo. 72 and 1. 24 is Argentum Wewum. We've seen both of these cards. Well, Feo was at like the bottom of the deck, so it technically didn't come out. This was the other card that I couldn't remember. It was East, 12th, and Licha. Leica. Captured form festers, held static, possessed. Hemmed in, pinned in, rammed and wrecked. What does this say? Tears raining down ceaselessly. Pain after pain after pain, and you can't explain it away. So this is heavy. Who was this, Leo? This is heavy. I'm almost surprised that Leo is so heavy because its energy was in so many of the, like a handful, quite a few of the ones in the first half. Cats used to stay on the screen longer than like literally 2 seconds. I get like 2 seconds to look up and notice my screen before everything just fades to black. Well, it doesn't fade to black, it fades into whatever this color is. You know what this makes me think of? It's one of the X-Men movies. It makes me think of when Magneto gets locked up and Mystique meets one of the guards at a bar or something, and she pumps him full of iron, and then Magneto uses the iron in the guard's body to like bust himself out. You know what I mean? And it's making me think of that because of these magnets or because of these quicksilver drops here. It's like this is the cell, and then like these quicksilver drops do something to break somebody free. And Mercury isn't the wind, but if you had a question of how to capture the wind, look at whatever's happening to Leo. um, sorry, that's not funny. 24. Let's see. Argentum vivum, quicksilver, slippery, mobile, mercury. Part liquid and part metal, quicksilver, also known as mercury, is a mesmerizing material. Its gift is to slip between worlds. It cannot be pinned down or easily defined. It cannot be pinned down or easily defined, yet here is the energy of tears and pain after pain after pain because of being hemmed in, rammed, choked, slammed, hemmed in, pinned in, rammed, and racked. But it can't be captured. Oh, yeah, Quicksilver is the super fast one, right? Why didn't they just call him Hermes? The boots of Hermes that running in between realms. Um, it cannot be pinned down or easily defined. Mercury came to symbolize the god Hermes in the great hermetic secrets of alchemy, always sliding away into secrecy, just beyond the alchemist's grasp. It is said Mercury represents the transition between the physical and the unseen worlds, between life and death, between science and the esoteric. It is the metal of sacred thresholds. Shamanic practitioners of every tradition must acquire the ability to stand at the doorway between worlds. This is no small feat. The Mercury card indicates the querent has a particular gift for such a task. This is the work of the shaman, teacher, sage, artist, and alchemist. Heed the call of Quicksilver. The sacred threshold requires your attendance. I'm glad I read that because that would explain how something so slippery can be hemmed in, pinned in, and maintained because it's sacred. So, for any, was that Taurus? Was that Taurus or Virgo? No, I literally, maybe it was Aries. Who was trying to capture the wind? For whoever was trying to capture the wind, just up your divinity, and then you can catch anything, girl. That's Dwarven magic. Capturing the wind is Dwarven magic. So check out what Svartalfheim or Forgheim. It seems like every other thing that I find that talks about the nine realms puts the home of the dwarves in a different realm or is it a different name like every time. I don't know what it is. But it's dwarven magic, and Virgo was all about dwarven magic. So if you're trying to capture the wind, find yourself a Virgo. They'll help you out. So Eve, Kirsty, Steph, y'all are on it. Oh, and look, it is like there's like this blue doorway here. Door number one. Only have one reading after this. I kind of wish I could do a pick a door. Maybe that's what I'll do for Leo because I haven't done Leo yet. It's not for me to do. For Leo, though, it almost feels like it's a combination lock because Leo is the sun. Leo was ruled by the sun. The sun has planets that orbit around it. Somebody, I don't know if it was Leo. Leo calls on the planetary orbits a lot, it feels. Um, in the beginning, it was like there are certain planets that Leo places too close to the sun and other planets that are placed way too far away. So Leo was like rebalancing its solar system in order to reestablishing their boundaries, in order to keep things warm and to keep other things from freezing and to keep other planets like Jupiter from swallowing the entire solar system. And then we're all in the legion of moons that it possesses. Like, who knows how many planets were in the solar system before Jupiter started its advancement. And then Saturn was like, whoa, buddy, calm down. Anyway. And I say that again because of these four quicksilver orbs that are in position around this, whatever that is. Argentum vivum, is that living silver? Eomo. It might be like living silver. Well, some of these, I'm like, ooh, it ain't my job to break it down, you know. I just read the cards, I go where I'm led, and then you pick up the ball and you take it further in your own life. That's where the resonance kicks in, and then the universe will expound for you. Maybe. I mean, that's how it works for me. I don't know if it ends up working like that for other people too, you know. Who knows? But Leo is sitting at the sacred threshold. That makes me think of Virgo, of what Virgo was offering to Tyr. Is this the material that you're looking for? Is this what I need to pass through? And that's why Virgo had Dwarven magic. Because, again, it's because I'm playing God of War. But they're like, Dwarven magic is interesting because it plays on the nature of things rather than the form that they take. And so when you use the nature of something, it's like that's a sorcery in and of its own sort of right, in and of its own self. It's almost like that's the power of imagination, using the form or using the nature rather than the form. Besides that, I don't know what. I feel like I need to say something else, but there's nothing else for me to really say. I mean, what am I, a mere mortal, supposed to say to someone who's in the presence of divinity, girl? That's a sacred space you're trying to get through, Leo. Or maybe it's a sacred space that you found yourself in. And if we go back to the Ul, the 12th, because 12 did come out with that rune, um, that's when it's about learning how to rebalance the internal, um, so that you can exist in spaces and in places and not disturb that space, but also not lose yourself or be lost to it. And so, if you found yourself in a sort of sacred space where certain things aren't allowed, I can imagine it being very constricting because you're like, I can't do this, I can't do that, I can't do anything. That's Kratos. There are some things that happen in the game that I'm like, ooh, interesting. I do know. Just get some red paint. Kratos is getting old. I'm like, oh my gosh. I've left those days behind me, Rob. This is a channel of love, light, and only the highest of frequencies. We leave war to the plebs. I'm kidding. Sagittarius. Oh, how I fear you now. It was just 55:55 on the clock, Sagittarius. But we're going to call you 56 minutes. Plumum. Lead. This looks like the glyph for Saturn. That almost looks like Pisces, but it has 2 lines. This is number 20. Oof. Did I see it? No. Am I looking for orbs? No. I am not. I am looking for, it was a lens flare. See, I moved the light. That's what that was. You know? Wow. What are you trying to say, Rob? I've never cosplayed in my life. I say that, but I did order a sword from an anime on Amazon. So I am a few experiences away from cosplaying. So, okay, never mind. Wow, I feel very attacked right now. I feel very. Oh, you saw the orb? Okay. I thought you meant you could see me cosplaying. Oh. I saw this rune a few times earlier. Support. Number 25. And new. Number 45. The difference between 25 and 45 is 20. Something's going on with Sagittarius. And don't ask me what. Plumum lead, number 20. This is the first material. Density, weight, Saturn. Lead is the first metal. Excuse me. Its properties are heavy, dense, and unwaveringly steady. It is often perceived as the metal that initiated the entire alchemical drive to turn what is base into what is noble. It correlates to the planet Saturn and its love of rules and structure. On one hand, this card implies a fixed position or burden that may be weighing down the work. On the other hand, lead can arrive just in time to ground a situation, to bring an alchemist back to the humble beginnings. Either way, the presence of lead is sobering. We cannot ignore it. The impatient alchemist may be discouraged to see it in the laboratory, as it reminds us of how far we have to go. Approach this card with reverence for the ongoing process. You know what I love about this? We can see something like coming in an arc, and by the time it gets down here to greet the new, it's holding more of those like pinks. You see how the color changes from top to bottom, terminating in the pink. Interesting. Do y'all hear all that? Like all the sounds of heavy things moving. Sagittarius. Sagittarius. We'll do a collective one of these at the end. Sagittarius is in a very, very, very interesting space. It makes me think of Leo. It feels like Sagittarius is in this space, navigating the space that Leo is approaching. Like Sagittarius is in a place of a sort of like there's a sort of balance to Sagittarius as it exists. One second. Sorry. Un momento, por favor. Back. Sorry. Oh, Markin, I'm on my phone. And that's why that's why the connection went out. There's nothing quite so mysterious here, Rob. Everything is normal. Nothing is out of the ordinary. Okay. That was me texting somebody on my phone. I told him about a few people that I grew up with. My buddy was over here, my ex roomie. And I was telling him about some people that I grew up with who are now like professional sports players. And he was like, "Oh, like one of the dudes that you mentioned is playing right now. Are you still watching the game?" Um, anyway. And he already knew who the person was. I was like, "How do you know him?" And they were talking about how he's like still new to the game, but he's like doing all this great stuff. And he's like the third best whatever. I was like, "Oh, snap." So he is actually doing stuff out there. Okay. Anyway. Sagittarius is in a place that it feels like for any of the restriction that Leo, let's not compare. Let's not do comparison games because that's, like we can help each other, but we don't compare ourselves to one another, right? It feels like if Sagittarius feels like they're progressing slowly, it's because they're moving the bar in like so many different arenas at the same time. I think when we primarily focus all of our effort and attention on one thing and we put in that effort, we'll see it go a lot farther. But it's like it's moving forward in a lot of spaces. But because of that, it's opening you up to support from all over the place. And what it will culminate in, it's almost like Cavassier. Um, how like all the gods spit into a pot and then Cavassier was born. It feels like something, it's like every of the nine contributes something to what Sagittarius is growing, or all of the 10 planets and celestial bodies, including Pluto, are giving Sagittarius something. It's like Sagittarius is collecting the blessings and the boons of like an entire pantheon, maybe entire pantheons. Again, don't ask me what it means. Because you're noticed in every space, because you're progressing in every space. And you're doing it the right way because Saturn is here. And Saturn isn't here as a blockage, Saturn is here in support. again. And I say that because it's like Pisces being the 12th sign, it's the most connected to the beyond because they're the ones that are about to transition out of the cycle before they're reborn anew as Aries or they just exit. And it's this, but instead of it being one line, it's two lines. And so that it's this multi-directionality of communication. It's an inclusion of many different things rather than it being all one way, or rather than it being like a one-sided conversation. So it's really easy to be blind to one thing or to form certain biases or opinions against something when you so fully invest into just one thing. It's like you're making sure you're getting the entire picture as you go along. It's not just one school of thought. Or if it is a school of thought, it's the school of thought. Like, it's not a specific school. Wow, Sagittarius. Always coming in with the oof, like something is happening in Sagittarius. One 0724, 10734. So I'm gonna do a collective one and then I'll get a final shuffle. Melanosis, darkening, number 12. This looks like fire stacked on top of fire, which gives fire and air here. Because it's like two fire triangles, but this one, because of the line there, it's actually the symbol for air. Maybe it's how air supports fire, it's how one element supports another. But the darkening is like, if this is air supporting fire, it's creating like smoke, but like a thick black smoke as things are burning. Guess what rune came out? I'll give you 2 seconds and an infinite number of guesses for what rune came out with this darkening. If you were to say that the shadow rune came out with darkening, you'd be correct. With swelgeness. The thing that I like about how shadow is approached in this is that it's the nutrients that the shadow also brings. So the past is also serving as nutrients. It's almost like Urther, the Norn, is asking us or is watching us to see if we've learned enough from our past to continue down the same path. It feels like maybe the raven has come in and felled the snake. So there is a process of like transformation or whatever. But like energy transfers, it goes somewhere. So I don't know if like this raven, let's not necessarily get into the whole blackbird thing, right? But it's almost like the colors were reversed at one point. The snake was black, the raven was a dove or some white bird. But when it came in and it killed the snake, all that was inside of the snake transferred into the bird. And the bird has a lot more mobility than the snake did. So it actually makes things even worse. And it's a very Rob's Tarot Six of Swords. It's Rob Odinson now, sorry. It's a very Rob Odinson Six of Swords. It can be, where we're so busy or so focused on moving that we're not cognizant or aware of that. We're not cognizant or aware of the fact that we're carrying the very thing that we're trying to flee with us. And so it moves as we move. This makes me think of a dream that I had a while ago where I was in. Have you really? I psychically picked up on that information. So I'm kidding. Um, it, so in this dream I had a long time ago, I was like at this huge party with this spiritual person that I used to follow earlier in my journey. I mean, it's Abraham Hicks, you know what I mean? It's not anything like whatever. She was one of my first like YouTube, or I guess people I found on YouTube, because there was somebody I followed on Snapchat and he would listen to her and I was like, oh, what's that? He was, and it was all about like the vortex and stuff like that. And I was like, oh, let me listen to a few of them anyway. So I'm in this huge like house and there's like this party or whatever. And Abraham Hicks is there and everyone is so excited. This is nothing against Abraham Hicks. At this point in my life, she was like literally the only person that my brain could show me in a dream and have me know what like this means. Um, but everybody was like so excited to see her. They basically worship her. Um, and it was like my birthday or something. They brought me like because we were eating or something. And they're like, oh, somebody said it's your birthday. And I'm like, it's not my birthday. And we go out and we're all like in this hall or whatever, and she's there and she's saying something and I get this like super weird feeling. I'm like, ooh, something's about to go down, I need to get out, but I don't want to be conspicuous. So I'm like, oh, I need to get some air. So I stepped outside to get some air and I bolted out of there. I make it, I'm like running down the street. I see my dad across the street. I'm like, oh, what are you doing here? He was like, oh, I came for the whatever. And I'm like, we need to go. Like, where did you park? We need to get out of here. And then he's like, what's happening behind you? And behind me, it's people running out of the house. And these super dark shadows are like following them. Nobody has a shadow. And these darker shadows are like trying to get them. And so I'm like, what happened? And then I'm shown in the dream there was some like weird pool thing where it's like, you get into the pool and we'll get rid of your shadow for you. And so everyone gets in the pool and like they're feeling better because they don't have their shadow or whatever. And then it comes like without their shadow there attached to them, something else could come in. And that something else was a lot worse than what they had given up. So I mean, I'm assuming I still had my shadow, so wasn't nothing for to attach to me. I'm like, I don't know. It was a messed up dream. Anyway, I think it's because of that spreading darkness, or it's because of unlike we're not doing the comparison thing. Okay. It's because of when we're so overly focused on one thing, we don't we become blind to other things. Um, and when we become blind to those things, or when we intentionally blind ourselves to those things, it makes it easy for them to be manipulated in ways that we then choose to become unaware of. And it's partially how choices have consequences. It's also partially how when we make one choice, we're simultaneously making many choices. It's almost like what opportunity costs. If you do this one thing, then you can't do the other things because you're already doing this one thing. We're making multiple decisions. But let's read melanosis. I'm sure it's nothing quite so scary. I was just like, oof, I'm glad I got out when I got out, because that's looking rough. This is the first. What are these? Achievements? The 4 colors. This is the first color. Melanosis, darkening, depth, readiness, and churning. In alchemy, darkness is an achievement. It indicates the material has been through a significant occurrence, sometimes called an initiatory experience, that has brought it into a state of readiness for the work. The darkness prepares us. We've moved beyond the small talk and chit-chat of the upper world and descended into the psychic layers of the soul. We admit who we are, fully and bravely, and thus open ourselves to the process of transformation. When this card appears, it's not necessary to delve. It's not necessary to delve, not dwell. It's not necessary to delve into what brought you here. The initiation, likely by fire, that has caused the embers, the char. Hold up, wait. I'm gonna read this again. When this card appears, it's not necessarily to. It's. I keep. I'm going to take a breath. I'm going to take it slow. When this card appears, it's not necessary to delve into what brought you here, the initiation that has caused the embers to char. Oh, the initiation is the thing that brought you here, that made the embers char. Okay. Rather, it's time to heal, and darkness is the remedy. Closing your eyes is a voluntary expression of darkening. By practicing it daily, we drop into the depths and surrender. As the alchemist's eye adjusts, transformation begins. And then we get swelterness and Neath. Or Nide. The war rune, the fear tune, the battle hymn, the grim song sung too long. The war of one to be one alone in our shadows. We hold the bloodied ravens fast, whisper a fresh melody in the silence, murder our crows and grow stronger. Thoggen's golden key of life. The bloodied ravens, as this, I mean, we don't see the blood of the snake in this. Maybe this is the blood of the snake. It's infected the raven. There wasn't a raven before. It's darkened. Well, maybe it's come up to, it doesn't matter what brought us here. What's important now is that we heal. It's important that I would say it's important that we focus on moving forward. But it's almost very like those who don't learn from their pasts are doomed to repeat it. But this crow, this raven, will not necessarily see how it's been darkened because it was doing what it thought was right. It was blinded. Things aren't necessarily that simple when we're interacting with, living with, dealing with other living things. The world isn't necessarily so black and white. And so to treat it as such is to darken ourselves in some ways. But that makes sense because when we treat it like it's black and white, it loses its color. So, oof. But the darkness is also in our pasts. The darkness and the shadows are behind us, we can move forward. I think in that too, there's a lesson or a need to not only acknowledge and recognize what we do or what we've done, but to not hold ourselves, to not be so chained and fettered by it that we don't continue moving forward. Hola, Russ. How are you doing? How are you? Also, I'm on my phone and the messages disappear after like 2 seconds. So, bam, cleaning it. We're sweeping out the shadows. It's happening, folks. I didn't bring my PlayStation, so I can't play God of War. I mean, it's fine, because I'm going to be going to bed here pretty soon, and then I'll get to see my best friend tomorrow. I'm excited about that. I ain't seen her in years. Watch Her Go Fall is coming out with the Brahm. This Watch Her Go Fall and Brahm, that's making me think of the Aegean Stables. It was one of Hercules' originally 10 tasks that King whoever was like, well, you didn't clean the stable, the river cleaned the stable, so technically that one doesn't count. After he pushed the whole stable to the river, like, you know what I mean? It still didn't clean itself. Who let the stables get that bad in the first place? What did those horses eat? So inside the deck, Bjork. Begin, poplar tree. And out fell needle. Begin mending. 18 and 41. That's what we focus on. Begin mending. The bottom of the deck is ice. Ash. Personal Yggdrasil. It's still haunting me. I'm just kidding. But when we begin that mending, it's like, look at how the flowers bloom in the mending after the beginning. And it's almost this, like, the Yggdrasil supports more than the 9 realms. The Yggdrasil has a very rich ecosystem. And there are things that exist outside of the 9. So it's almost like this not be so consumed in the self at the same time. Excuse me. I wish I could like actually read these. Of a car wash? Working at the car wash. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Working at the car. Working day and night. You can work from home. I've been working on the railroad. Okay, let me stop. Mm-hmm. 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 The final alchemical process. Quicksilver and Jupiter. Mercury and Jupiter. Where is Mercury? Mercury is in Capricorn. Jupiter is in Pisces. I don't think Mercury and Jupiter are going to sextile before they square. Because I feel like Mercury is like early in Capricorn. Jupiter is basically Aries. So they're going to have like an Aries Capricorn square rather than a Pisces Capricorn sextile, maybe. But I don't know. I have no clue. These are like shuffling today too. Maybe I'm just good at shuffling today. Maybe I'm better. Okay. It's a whistle along. Karaoke. Oof. No! No! I have tainted this deck. Holly, I just told you I don't really clear. So I need recommendations. I need crystals. I need what phase of the moon. Like, do I got to knock? Because this deck has been infected. Look at... It's master number 33. Oof. The hardest eye roll I can manage. Ash. Kenneth. It makes me think of Cinnabar. Ash. Ash. I've told y'all that Ash. This has been haunting me. I know why. Ash. I did not expect this. I didn't even know this deck had Ash. Bottom of the deck is Ouroboros. It's in reverse, but all these are in reverse. Oh. Ouroboros with the Pearl of Wisdom under it. Number 45 and 44. Master number 44 and master number 33. This is the bottom of the deck. So you know how like a single grain of sand can become a pearl? Apparently we're making necklaces out of ash now. Instead of it being sand pearl necklaces, it's ash pearl necklaces. And the good thing about the Great Serpent is that you can do more than one at a time. Right? You put a grain of sand in a clam, that's all you get. You put them into the serpent, it's going to be a pearl. It'll spit out a whole necklace. It'll tie the pearls together inside of its stomach. You don't have to do anything but sift through the ash. Feed it to it's like shoveling ash into the Ouroboros. Like coal into the furnace of a steam locomotive. So let's read number 33, Kenneth. It is memory, ancestors, and the past. Okay. Ash represents what has come before it. The fire is over now, and its flames took with it all recognizable form of what was burned. Ash after the fire of the darkening. The darkening that was like, it seems like there's this forest fire and it's giving off this black smoke and it's getting thick. It cycles then. It's just cycles. Eve, stop. Just like these messages are fading. Ooh, they come in and out. This is a life cycle. So the bird that felled the snake that I thought was a raven. Well, I only saw the raven. I didn't know what bird it was before. I assumed it was a white bird, and it drained the snake of everything that gave it whatever color that made the bird feel threatened, or that made the bird see the snake as prey. The snake was drained of that after its passing, and it infected the bird. But the bird is not a falcon. The bird is a phoenix. And so when it dies, it's like it took the poison from the snake because it knew it would be reborn. So then the phoenix dies, it arises brand new, and boom, we've eliminated the problem. I guess, apparently, I don't know. Ash represents what has come before it. The fire is over now, and its flames took with it all recognizable form of what was burned. Only memories and the soft gray ashen substance remain. When this card appears, look back and sift through what has occurred. You are in the realm of ancestors, past relationships, and those that have passed to another realm. Be gentle with the process as it is delicate and sacred. The Ash card asks us to tend to the true nature of endings, grief, and letting go. You may be asked to be present with others experiencing loss. When in doubt, be like ash. It is silken, light, and easily carried by the wind. Soften into the memories and into the tears. Eventually, forgiveness follows, and the heart travels alight. I love how that ended, because for a second I was like, what are we doing with this? Okay, so I won't be as annoyed when I see Ash literally every single day. And the personal Idrisil tree has been doing some beautiful things, but it's just like, it's fine. So it's almost like, so with the collective and the final runes and processes. Hold on, wait, what? Oh yeah, maybe the orb was floating ash. I like that. I like that a lot better than it's fine anyway. Um, so it's almost like, because it said with Ash, look back. So if you watched your sign, or if you watched this live, and then you heard this part, I would almost suggest potentially going back and watching it again, your sign again, but with the knowing that whatever is done to conclude this cycle, it won't carry over into the next one. The bird was a phoenix. It's going to arise in the form that it originally. Phoenixes are threes, I guess, because it goes through the process, and at the end of it, it is restored, it is rejuvenated. The phoenix is a catalyst. Interesting. Okay, I love that little twist ending. Now go back, do it again from the top. So anyway, that's what I have for all of you Virgos, Taurus, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius, or just collective people. I kinda don't want to stop, but I will. I want to pull more, but I won't. Um, I can't even ask Bixby because I'm using my phone. My ex roomie was like, "You shouldn't use a phone to make choices and decisions." Because I saw this really nice jacket earlier today. It was a really cool jacket. Libra was at 1 hour, 3 minutes, and 40 seconds on the previous video. Um, It was a really nice jacket, and I really wanted it, but I don't have anything. Like, it doesn't make sense to buy it right now. So I was like, well, if Bixby says heads, I'll buy it. And Bixby said tails. And my roommate was like, you shouldn't use a phone to do that. And I was like, yeah, you're right. Because Siri told me to skip an entire semester and sleep in. I didn't do well that semester. But I still got my degree in the end. So it works out. Um, yeah. So I hope you all have an amazing whatever whenever you see this. I hope you're acting in alignment to like all that you wish to experience your reality. And I hope that I guess it's almost like as you are taken where you go, I hope you allow the now. I hope you allow the now with a perspective of time. So, how much is a jacket? This jacket was like $300. So like I can afford it right now because I literally just got paid. But also after Friday, I'm not gonna have a job, and I'm still in the process of looking for a new one. And it was a very formal jacket. It was so nice. But I don't, it's not like, I mean, I don't know where I'm gonna be in the coming time. And that's something that I'm very aware of. Um, but as of right at this moment, I don't have, like, I wouldn't really wear it. So that's why I was like, I just come and get it when like I have a reason to. Plus, also at the same time, mind your business. I'm kidding, but I will not expand upon. I have my reasons besides the fact that because I was like it was a big and tall store. I'm a big and tall dude. And it was so expensive. My friend was my ex roomie. He was like, "Oh, it's pricey." When he said it was pricey, I wasn't expecting it to be as expensive as it was. You know what I mean? I was like, "Oh, like," and he was like, "What do you like? I told you it's pricey." I was like, "Yeah, but this is like super expensive. This is not like exorbitantly expensive." Um, but it was just more than I expected it to be. I guess you know what I mean. But it was a really nice jacket, and it looked good on me. But I'll get it when I have a reason to, rather than just wanting it. Because I don't want to get it and then it just sits in my closet all bunched up and stuff. You know what I mean? So, and I don't even have anywhere to put it, really. I have no space, I have no reason, but I will find myself in that jacket at some point. I know it. So, anyway, no problem. I will see you all. Yes, yeah, definitely not New York expensive. Yes, Siri told me. So this is how Siri told me to fail. Um, I would like wake up and I would be like, "Oh, I kind of want to roll over and go back to sleep." I'll tell Siri to flip a coin. If Siri says heads, I'll go to class. If Siri says tails, I'll go back to sleep. And Siri would always tell me to go back to sleep, so I missed so many classes. And then I didn't do well that semester. So that's how I use Siri to sabotage. But at the same time, Siri could have told me to go to class. You know what I mean? Why did Siri literally always tell me to sleep in? Well, I guess with the process, with everything that I've read, it's because it was for me to fail at that point. I failed at that point so I could succeed later. It's because of the darkness that I experienced as a result of those failures that gave me the impetus to seek out the light as much as I did. So, anyway, I wouldn't be here if I didn't sleep in those days. So, wow, I am going to delete your comment. Can I delete comments from moderators? don't like I literally don't have anywhere to wear the jacket, and I don't have anywhere to put it right now. Um, I appreciate the sentiment though. I really do. But yeah. So anyway, that's I don't know. I guess we could just talk. Does anybody want? Oof, girl. I feel like I might regret this. I will write down a number. I have written down a number. Where can I put this pen so you know I'm not going to touch it? I'll put it here. Here's the pen. So you know I'm not going to write a different number. Could it be my reading jacket? It would be a very formal reading jacket. I was like, ooh, I haven't even told y'all yet. But I guess it could be. No, no. I wants it to be a smoking jacket. Okay. I just saw ash. I saw the word ash, and I'm just like, no, absolutely not. I didn't even read the rest. So I have written a number down. It is not 48 or 28. But first, I would like for someone or multiple someones, you can only pick one number, no multiple numbers, but everyone can choose a number between 1 and 10. Oh, I picked up the pen again. I'm sorry. The whole point was so that you could see me not write a number. So next, choose a number between 1 and 20. Choose a number between 1 and 20. Wait, where's Kirsty? Oh, she got 7. With the smoking jacket. This is such an interesting experiment. Oh, I just dropped the pen. So this was the number that I wrote down. It was 17. So both Eve and Russ got it. But nobody guessed 8 on the number for 1 to 10. Because in one, it breaks down to an 8. When I try to make it too easy, then no one gets it. But apparently, when I make it more difficult, folks get it. I don't know what this means, but I guess Eve and Russ are going to decide what I do. You will be my Siri. Tell me, what do I do? Excuse me. All great guesses, by the way. All numbers that I could have chosen. No one said 1,024. Russell. As far as the cards, am I gonna shut it down? Am I gonna pull? What am I gonna pull for? I'm getting it shuffled already. Oof. Wow. Oh. Okay, I can get down with this. Ooh. Somebody guessed 48. Was it Russell? Room number 48 came out. I don't think I'm going to use these. So, I have your shadow reading, Eve. And this is going to be a technicality because number 48 is leaf shade, which is the shadow of a leaf, which I can get down with. The bottom of the deck is hell, though, which is returning light. Under hell is your. Under hell is the 28 that Holly guessed. I think Holly guessed 28. Russ guessed 48. Yeah. Here's your 28, Holly. Your hell, your own personal hell. That's what, that's what this is. You little leaf of the Idrisil, you. This is about your own personal hell. Under that is the title card. This is the light that returns. LOL. And then the beginning that we saw earlier. Anyway. Oh. Yeah, I see. Wait, we were just talking about the Great Serpent, Ouroboros, the one who's turning those. Nope, not these, but those. Yours right there. Cool. So the first rune that came out is Kalk. The second rune that came out is Heigl, which is also in the Hell cycle. The third rune that came out is Leaf Shade. I think Leaf Shade fell out, and these two turned over inside the deck. $34, $9, $48, $76. Excuse me. I did not say that, Rob. So this makes me think of mice in the Lenormand, Kalk and Hell. It's the weathering of something anchored. It's being chipped away very slowly. Cradled neath the comforting branches of trees, stretching, providing peace, shelter, wisdom, and direction. Contemplate the rate at which a tree breathes and lives. Join its calming pace by allowing nature's healing to kiss us all deep inside. Healing herbs and tinctures are shared with us by plant spirits whispering on a sultry breeze under their sacred shaded foliage. Foliage. Oh. So these two make me think of something being slowly chipped away. But these two, the leaf shade provides us shelter from the elements. So it's under the shade of the leaf, under the shade of the tree, that we can withstand the heat and the rain and other things because of the cover that the tree provides. The tree is the anchored thing that is there to help get us through dark times until the light is returned. But with your, it's not necessarily like if you wait however many hours, the sun is going to set because of the faded destiny of your. It feels like there's something that happens that brings daybreak. But until it happens, we're safe under the canopy. How's that for a shadow reading? So Eve said shadow reading. So I guess that's ultimately about finding places of solace within troubling times, or knowing that you haven't been forgotten or abandoned or anything like that, that you're still being looked after, even in the darkness, even in the shadow, because the divine is omnipresent. It can reach anywhere and everywhere. It just doesn't necessarily force itself in a way. Oh, and then there's Swelchness. Russell, tell me what I'm doing. Eve said shadows. Russ says eat and go to sleep. I have sweets. It was really comforting. I was like, oh, okay, cute, work. Technically about shadows. So, you know. But maybe that also gets back into, because darkness was the card that came out. But it's when darkness can be a refuge, but not a prison. Probably when we're not in complete darkness. I need a little bit of sugar. 1 second. I got a free donut. I only wanted one donut. And they're like, oh, is this your first time here? And I was like, yeah. And then she went in the back and grabbed us some free donuts. But I was like, that's all I really wanted. But I would have felt bad if I didn't buy anything after I got a free donut. So I have a peanut butter cookie. You see that? The animals that watch, or the watchers and observers. Oh. Um. I feel like I haven't had a donut in so long. Free donuts are the best donuts. But not when they come with strings attached. I'm just kidding. It was still a pretty good donut. So the Cosmic Lagoon. Am I looking before and after? We'll do both. We'll look before and after Lagoon. Before and after over Lagoon. We'll do that. We'll start there. Maybe I don't have to look for anything. Rune number 22, Ing, Water Meadow, just came out. Ignite Water Meadow. Son of the sea, Freyr's fertility, forces fauna from the soil's soul. Sunshine saturates the sacral, as purified rain rolls to the roots of all life. The soaked saturated seeds split the first thread of germination, plunges down. The soaked saturated seeds split. The first thread of germination plunges down so the wild water meadow flowers can sprout. Shoot and bloom with the soul's new tune. Ignite the song of your water phoenix. Well, there's our phoenix. Not only is that our phoenix, so when we seek shelter under the tree and we find respite in leaf shade, purified rain rolls to the roots of all life. Okay. What did he say? Can you hear the donuts? Bottom of the deck is Fane. I like Fane for this. It feels like the turning of the weather vane allows passage for the water to go where it needs. It's almost like there are multiple channels, and Fane opens up in whichever direction that water, again, the water needs to go. So that every seed, it's almost like these two together, it feels like irrigation. We're looking for Lagu. We're looking for Offerlagu. Looking for Lagu. Looking for Offerlagu. Offerlagu is here. Again, we're beginning. And when. Love that. Now we just need Lagu. Lagu, my igu. Did I pass it? Hello? Is this going to be at the top of the deck? Oh no, here it is. Vindhorn, Lagu, and Leaf. As the leaf unfurls, ba-bum, 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 leaf shade. Can't get much shade from buds, you know what I mean? You said Cosmic Lagu, right? Cosmic Lagu. Eight, 63, 18, 47, 21, and 35. Do we have a 1? Yes. Do we have a 2? We got 2 of them. We got a 3. There's also another 2 and a 1. There's a 4, a 5, a 6, a 7, and an 8. The only number that we don't have is 9. 63 is a 9, 18 is a 9, but the number 9 doesn't make a natural appearance as a part of any of these. I thought there was a number that I didn't see, so I was going through them to see what that number was. The difference between Wynn and Bjork is that this has bled through to the roots. Now it also reaches the roots. It reaches the roots while not losing its attachment to the canopy. Now it expands the entire. It expands the entire east. It's not. What is this? Is there a double Ganunga Gap rune? The difference between 8 and 18 is 10. So it completes its cycle up here. And then it also does the same in the bottom. The mirrored energy of the Ofurlagu with the 18 that is the moon, it feels like it mirrors in ways that we're not. It feels like it mirrors in ways that we don't see, but not necessarily in ways that we don't feel. Just because it's not seen doesn't mean it isn't felt. Because that's what the moon is all about, getting us to feel something. We don't like it when it's something that we don't want to see. We love it when it's something that we do want to see. Well, do we? I feel like that one probably depends on the person. Now with the Lagu, we have this unbound leaf. If you are the leaf if you are the leaf of the Yggdrasil, and you become unbound, it's almost like you become an Yggdrasil seed. And that's why it's important to touch the roots, or that's why it's important to be in tune with the roots. That's what I got. I'm not gonna dig into the esoterics of that. Be unbound, little leaf. That's what the Lagoon, the cosmic ocean, is saying. Cosmic ocean is saying, be unbound, little leaf. And Ofurlagu is saying to be complete, or to be in a space of totality. Don't be partial. Or try not to be. Because when you grow after you're planted, if you're top heavy, you'll topple over. So that's why it's also important, to also be mindful of the core strength that's needed, And that's the part of the trees that we don't really see. We don't see as much of the roots as we do of the canopy and the fruits that the canopy bears. Needle mend the unseen, mend the hooded. And then there's Flissa. How are we supposed to mend or heal what we can't see? Just because it's not seen doesn't mean it's not felt. Heal that which you don't want to feel. That'll give you the root strength to stand tall when you're planted somewhere else. There's a word for that, right? when you take like the seed of a plant and then you plant it somewhere else. So that's what I got. Again, I hope you all have an amazing whatever whenever you see this. I hope you're acting in alignment to make all that you wish to experience your reality. And I hope that I hope you get like some good food because I've eaten too much. I've eaten so much. And there's still like I wish that I was a bottomless pit of gluttony, and I know that's terrible. But there's so much good food that I want to try while I'm here. I live in a culinary wasteland, and I just don't have the tummy space to eat it all. It's sad. It's a good problem to have. It's a good problem to have here. It's not a good problem to have when I'm at home because, like I said, I live in a culinary wasteland. So, which just encourages me to cook and to eat healthier and to eat better and to not be so lazy. So, does it still work? Sure, whatever. But why can't I be lazy and happy? I'm kidding. All right, I will catch you all later. So, as soon as this is over, it's gonna private the video and then I'll have to unprivate the video. Whenever I go live on my phone, it defaults to privating the video after the live is over. And so if like I was live last night or if I've been live somewhere else and you can't access the video immediately, that's why. Kirsty, I don't appreciate your tone. I do not appreciate your tone. All right, I'll catch you all later. Have an excellent whatever, whenever.